So today we're unboxing a laptop. It's the Gigabyte Aero 16, and this guy is aimed towards creators. The Aero lineup in the past usually was a 15-inch laptop, but this year they've redesigned it with a 16-inch version, and they did this while keeping the same size chassis. Now this is kind of exciting because if you're a creator, you want a 16-inch laptop in a similar form factor because you get more display real estate. Plus, they switched to 16 by 10, so you actually get about 10 to 11% more vertical space, which is obviously better for productivity. Now, quick look at the specs. And as you can see here, this is using a UHD Plus display. This is a Samsung AMOLED panel. You have an NVIDIA RTX 3080 Ti with 16 gigabytes of VRAM. This runs at 105 watts. You have a i9-12900HK, so this is an unlocked processor. You have 32 gigabytes of DDR5 memory, and then you have two storage drives. One is 1 terabyte, the other is 2, running at Gen 4, and of course, it's using Windows 11. Now this is a retail box, so if you buy this, this is what you should sort of expect when you unbox it for the very first time. And they went away with the whole black theme, and they're now using more of like a green and white box, kind of more of like an inspiring color for creators. This is the silver model, which I think looks nice and clean. Is that a dent? Well, that must have got damaged in shipping or something. I hope the laptop's okay. And then of course you get your manuals and quick start guide. Now this is new to the laptop, and I think this is kind of cool. You know, the laptop already has quite a bit of ports, but this year they're including a USB-C 4-in-1 hub that comes standard with the laptop. So this is a little case if you want to carry your dongle in, which is kind of neat. I was like, do they really make a black dongle to go with a silver laptop? But I'm guessing the actual hub should be silver. Yep, it is. Okay, so it's gonna match the laptop. And as you can see here, you have your Ethernet jack, a USB port, I think it's 3.2, mini display port, and then your HDMI port, and then it connects via USB Type-C. And then if you want to travel with it and keep this thing safe, you can put it inside this little case and then throw it in your bag. The power supply should be around 230 watts. It's a big chonker. It is a 230 watt power brick. It's one of those Chinconi power adapters, so a lot of you guys have seen this before, and then it uses a barrel connector to connect to the side of the laptop. As you can see, they're using a CNC aluminum chassis. You have the Aero logo directly in the middle. The bottom of the laptop has a bunch of screws if you want to get inside and upgrade all your components. On the left-hand side, you have a Thunderbolt 4 port, audio jack, and then on the right-hand side, you have two Thunderbolt 4 ports, and then you have a barrel connector to connect your power supply. So that makes sense why they included a hub, because there is a lack of ports compared to other laptops this size. This is about 5 pounds or 2.3 kilograms. It is a bit sharp on the edges. Like if your hand goes over this, it's a little sharp here, but overall it's, you know, it's a pretty nice looking design. Can you open up with one hand though? Absolutely. So I had to plug in the adapter. The battery was a bit low, but one thing I noticed is that when you have the laptop on, the Aero logo at the top does light up. The other thing I noticed is that this hinge is mwah. I don't know if you guys remember, the Aero 15's hinge was super wobbly. Like you opened up the Aero 15, it would be going back and forth like this all day long like a ping pong. This guy stays where you place it, which is great. Keyboard flex is really good, like it's nice and stiff. The keyboard design has also changed. I don't know if you guys remember, but on the Aero 15, it was very cramped. They cramped everything together. You don't get a numeric keypad on this. I'm fine with that. Leave the numeric keypad to the 17-inch laptop, but I do like the two-tone finish. You have these black keys with a silver chassis, and it looks great. There's no RGB, which I'm totally cool with. Like at the end of the day, this is a creator laptop, but you have a very bright white backlight, and it stands out because you have these black keys. The keys themselves are also fantastic. Like they feel very good to type on. They're super tactile. The only thing I will say is that they're a bit too spaced out. So it's gonna take a couple of hours for for you to get really used to this keyboard. I wish they put them a bit closer or made the actual keycaps a bit bigger. The touchpad is 25% bigger, and so far it feels fantastic to use. Now this display is absolutely gorgeous. I hope this is their second generation of the Samsung AMOLED panel so that the brightness doesn't change the color accuracy when you're shifting it up and down. But so far it looks fantastic. Like, it's super bright. The colors just pop. You have this 1,000,000:1 contrast ratio. You know, it can do HDR 500. If you're a creator, you're gonna love looking at this. If you're a gamer, not so much. Like, I'd probably go for the QHD mini LED version. That one has 165 Hz refresh rate. It has a higher response time of 5 milliseconds, whereas this one has 1, but I think if you're doing gaming and content creation, you're better off with that guy. But if you're just doing strictly content creation, this thing looks great. I mean, come on, look at these bezels, you know? They're so thin, right? This was one thing they really changed. Super thin bezels, and in order to do this, they had to place the webcam on top. Unfortunately, it's not a 1080p webcam, it's still 720p, but it does have Windows Hello facial recognition to log you in. So sound is definitely coming from the top speakers, and it sounds really loud, like it gets loud. The problem is it's way too bright, like bright to the point where you barely hear the mids and the bass is completely silent. I feel like this needs some equalization tuning in order to sound better. Now I will say this, if you're going to use the hub, your options are to plug it in the USB Type-C port on the left or one of the two on the right. If you plug it on the right, you're gonna kind of block the other one, and that doesn't really make much sense. But if you plug it in the left, and if you wanna have it visually appealing, it's gonna block the vent, right? With the Aero logo at the top, which is not good for cooling. In order to keep this from doing that, you have to reverse it and plug it in upside down. Now, it doesn't look as nice, but you will allow the vent to breathe, right? So just keep that in mind if you're using the hub that comes with this device. In terms of performance, I'm expecting this thing to be probably faster than the Razer Blade 15. They both have 105 watt GPU or TGP GPU. The difference though is that this comes with a 12900HK, whereas the Blade 15 only has a 12900H. And generally, based on past Gigabyte products, they usually like to push performance a little bit more than Razer. They're not as conservative. Now, one thing I noticed was the bottom of the back plate. It's aluminum, which it should be, but if you look at the right and left-hand side, you have these filled in cutouts. I think Gigabyte chose a chassis that they liked, but had to fill in the cutouts with plastic because they weren't going to use it for speakers, since the speakers are upward firing. But if you run your finger across it, you can tell that this is metal, and then this feels like plastic. And if you look super duper close, the paint job is a little bit different. Now, not a big deal for most people since this is the bottom and you're never going to look at it, but if you're a really big stickler for design, this might irk you a little bit. And as you can see here, there's the plastic inside. Now internally, everything is stacked. Like, you got that big 99 watt-hour battery, so I'm expecting good battery life. You have 2 slots for NVMe drives. Right now there's a total of 3 terabytes in here, but you can have up to 4 terabytes, which is really good. 32 gigabytes of RAM, upgradable to 64, swappable Wi-Fi 6E, and then you have this massive cooling mechanism at the top. Lots of copper running back and forth. Big fans. I'm expecting this thing to stay nice and cooled. So that's a first look and unboxing of the Aero 16. I will say I do like this design better, but it needs a bit more finesse. You know, like the edges are still a bit too sharp. That should have been rounded out. And I don't like the bottom back plate. Like, there shouldn't be 2 materials and cutouts for something that doesn't exist on this guy. But I do like the direction they're going, and I'm very excited to do my full review, which means you better ask all the questions you want me to answer in it in the comment section down below. There'll be links to check out this laptop, and of course, if you like the video, hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.